First, our top story this hour, America first, dominating Davos. President Trump is set to address the World Economic Forum just 2 hours from now. The president is expected to use the speech to promote his tax cuts, deregulation, and trade policies, though there's already talk that some attendees plan to quietly walk out during the address. Joining me right now to talk more about that and a lot more, former U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Honduras, Mexico, and the Philippines, former Deputy Secretary of State, and former National Intelligence Director under Bush 43, John Negroponte is here. Ambassador, it's good to see you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. What are you expecting from the president today?
Well, you know, he's come, I think the big thing, first of all, the most important statement is the one he's made by coming here, because I don't think anybody expected that to happen. He has come to the temple of globalization. Yeah. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see whether he just gives a sermon, to keep with that analogy for a moment, or whether he's really willing to listen to others as well. So I'm delighted he's come. I think he's going to be well received, whether a couple of people walk out or not. They want United States engagement. The world does. And hopefully he's also going to listen to some of the messages that have been imparted to him during the past day or so. What
do you think Mexico is thinking? The U.S. is about to get real, deep in terms of the NAFTA renegotiations. The president has said, look, we just want fair trade. Mm-hmm. As a former UN ambassador to Mexico, what's your take on what we might see in terms of NAFTA changes?
Well, I think NAFTA is a hugely important agreement, $500 billion worth of trade. The supply chains integrated between the U.S., Mexico, and the United States creates a lot of jobs for us. I think Mr. Trump has indicated that he wants to reduce the deficit in trade between the two countries. Ongoing negotiations going on right now in Montreal between the various delegations. I think the main thing he wants to get is higher North American and possibly U.S. content requirements for automobiles, which are the single biggest. The deficit between ourselves and Mexico is attributed principally to the automobile trade. So I think something has to happen in that area. Apparently, the Canadians have put a proposal on the table. They haven't revealed it publicly, but it's apparently something above the current 62% North American requirement for vehicles built in the free trade area.
I see. Does he have a point with all these trade deals? It feels like America is at a disadvantage in many of these deals.
Well, I think he does and he doesn't. He has a point that we may have not always gotten the best advantage possible. On the other hand, I think he's not right, or those who think that globalization has not been in our interest, I don't believe are correct. So I think we got to find some balance. I think what he's done as the new sheriff in town, so to speak, is to say we're back here, the United States, and we're more prepared to use the great economic leverage we have in our trade negotiations than we may have done heretofore.
The president, apparently Fox News has now learned that the president did tell top officials that he wanted to fire special counsel Robert Mueller. This was past June. He talked, but was talked out of it by the White House counsel, Don McCann. Here's what the president had to say when asked about it this morning here in Davos.
Why did you fire Robert Mueller? Why did you want to fire Robert Mueller?
Fake news, folks. Fake news.
What's your message today?
Typical New York Times fake stories.
Wow, fake news, he called it. So what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, I mean, this is a matter under investigation, and I think we're going to have to wait to see what Mr. Mueller comes up with. But I believe his attitude ever since McGahn has become the White House counsel is that he's more disposed to cooperate, and I think that's positive. I don't get the sense that now he's going to balk or fire anybody at this particular moment. So I think he's willing to let things play themselves out.
Ambassador, as the former National Intelligence Director under Bush 43, I know you are very much a believer in the rule of law, and you want to be able to trust our national security agencies. You want to be able to trust the FBI, the CIA, even the IRS, by the way. Yeah. We have new text messages that were revealed yesterday, and they show that FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, who were a couple, they were concerned about being too tough on Hillary Clinton during the agency's investigation into her email server. Page basically said to Strzok, don't forget, she could be our next president. You don't want to be too tough on her, in so many words. Does that show bias in your view?
That is inappropriate politicization of the law enforcement process. And so I think if that report is true, then I think that's a real error on their part, an error of judgment, and it ought to be looked into. And I would assume that Mr. Mueller is probably going to take a look into it as well.
I wonder, because I know that this wasn't under Mueller's mandate, but these text messages are coming out showing that not only did they, have this incredible bias against Trump, but they were also involved in the Mueller investigation, and they basically wanted to destroy evidence.
Right, but I meant in the sense that if there is this kind of bias, it might mean there was also a bias in the other direction of wanting to give the president a harder time.
Yeah.
So,
really fascinating stuff. Ambassador, it's great to see you.
thank you.
Thank you so much
Pleasure
for
to be
joining
here.
us this morning. John
Right.
Negroponte.